What's up, book besties? Welcome to another episode of She's All Books, where we dive into the raddest reads that will totally blow your mind. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's chat all things books. Because life's too short for boring stories. Ready? Let's get this book party started. Welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Here with me today is Hannah Brixton. Hannah, thank you so much for joining me.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Jordan.
Absolutely. And Hannah is joining me after I heard about Hannah and Hannah's books from a previous author who joined me on this episode, on this podcast, Katie Van Brunt. And immediately I checked out, at the time, your only book that was published, which was Hey Jude. And I absolutely devoured it. I posted the review. If you're watching this or listening to this, you can head over to my Instagram and check out that review if you want to kind of get a little sneak peek and kind of inside of my mind while reading it. But we are going to dive in to Hannah's newest release, which comes out tomorrow, called Jessie's Girl. And I'm sure we'll touch a little bit on Hey Jude as well during this episode because I selfishly want to talk about both. But for those of you who are watching, if this is your first time hearing about Hannah and Hannah's books, make sure you stay tuned, listen to this episode so you can get all the details. Leave a comment so that we can see your comments about what about these books sound interesting to you. And if you've read these books, or if you've read the first book and plan to read the second book, let us know in the comments because we love to go through and see what readers have to say about them. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, Hannah, before we get started, do you mind giving like a brief summary, like very brief, because we're about to dive in deep with the paper fortune teller, but about Hey Jude and Jessie's Girl, just to give the viewers who aren't familiar a little bit of background knowledge before we dive into all the questions.
Okay, so Hey Jude, my debut novel, is what I call a romantic dramedy. So it's not quite a rom-com, but it has some funny parts, but it deals with some more serious topics. It is kind of a lumberjack-type guy meets a hot mess ADHD female main character, and they are stuck working on the same project together, doing this landscaping redesign on a huge property, and it's set in the Pacific Northwest. And they are hell-bent on staying just co-workers until they cannot do that anymore. And Jessie's Girl is more of a traditional rom-com. There's a lot of snarky banter, and it's a summer situationship turned more with her best friend, or her brother's best friend.
Awesome. Very exciting. So I have to say the meet cute in Hey Jude maybe isn't really considered a meet cute, but I absolutely loved that meet cute because I could totally see it happening to me. So do you mind if I share with the viewers just like that very, very intro to the book of how the characters first met? Is that going to spoil anything?
No, that's fabulous.
Okay.
Just so we know for future.
Yes.
Are we cool with sharing spoilers, or are we always going to check?
And I can always throw up a spoiler. This one is very much, I don't think it is a spoiler personally. Like, it's just the intro part of it. But they kind of end up working together. I'm just going to give I'm going to make it very vague. And on the first day, let's call it of work, they're driving to work and there's a little bit of like a road rage situation in a way. Not really road rage, but like a little bit of a tiff, like on the road. And then it ends up like as they're continuing to drive to work, they drive to the same place. I just thought it was genius. It was one of my favorite meet cutes that I've read in a very long time because I could see it happening to me. Like I could see I saw a lot of myself in her and the female main character of that book. It was just very relatable. So anyways, if that doesn't, a little teaser, if you have not read this book, that alone should make you want to read it because it was such a fun start to the book.
In the past, I've called it a meat cringe or possibly a meat disaster.
It's one of those where you're reading it and you're like, no. And like you almost like just probably cover your eyes, but it's just so good. And you're like, no. Like as you notice,
just stop talking. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she just cannot stop talking because she has diagnosed ADHD and she's an impulsive, emotional character. So
Right, exactly. So it's
She
just
gets
going to
angry and she just
dig that hole. Like I said, a lot that I can relate to. So I can't wait to dive in. I have a couple questions kind of around that for you, but also a lot about Jessie's Girl. Love how you title these books. Have questions about that as well. So let's get started before I just start spoiling all of the questions that I have for you. There's a few that readers or viewers submitted through Bookstagram, so I have those to incorporate in here as well. So, Hannah, did you grow up playing with the paper fortune teller by any chance?
absolutely. A baby of the early 80s, and so my childhood was the late 80s, early 90s. So absolutely, I made many of
80s
those.
baby here too. I love, like, I was born in the 80s. So, for those of you who are watching and maybe you're not too familiar with this, the paper fortune teller is a fun game that we would play in grade school. Not this way. This is a twist to it, but usually you would like ask the paper fortune teller questions, and under each of the 8 numbers that are inside of the paper fortune teller would be like a yes, no, maybe type of a situation. Again, something like that. And you would just keep asking until you got the answer you want if you were me. But for the purposes of this show, we are going to use the paper fortune teller to guide the questions. So each number listed here lines up with a question that I have for Hannah Brixton ready to go. So are you for this challenge, Hannah?
Oh yeah, bring it on.
All right, so it's a little bit harder to see in the camera. It shows up better in the recording, and some people are going to be listening to this and not seeing. So I will tell you each time what the color options are, and they are orange, green, pink, or yellow.
Let's go with yellow.
Yellow. All right.
One of the colors on the cover of Jessie's Girl.
Yes, awesome. I know because Hey Jude was like more greens, right? If I remember correctly, it was like
Yeah. Hey Jude. This
yes.
one?
Yeah. There's the
I have them
cover.
right here. I was so prepared.
You
And
are
then
so
this is Jessie's
prepared.
Girl.
And just I always drop the image in the recording final of it, but I love it when we can just hold it up. That's perfect. I love the cover for Jessie's Girl. All
Thank
right,
you.
so you said orange.
Yellow.
ORANGE. All right. 3, 4, 7, or 8.
4.
4. All right. Question number 4. What is the most surprising thing that you discovered while writing a book? It could be the first book or the second book, but was there anything that you discovered maybe about yourself, about just the writing process in general?
I think when I wrote the first book, I think what really was an eye-opener was how long the editing process takes. Like, I remember writing my first draft and being so excited that it was done. And like, I just laugh at the idea that it was done now because I know that the first draft is really, really early stages. It's really in the beginning, and there's so many stages of editing, revising, and editing again. And like, it just took months and months and months to, yeah. Like, I don't know how much you're aware of with like the way indie books are generally edited, but often indie authors have like an alpha reader or maybe more than one alpha reader, and then they get some initial feedback on their very first draft. They take that away, they go change things, edit things, do lots of self-editing, and then present it to beta readers. And they're like usually a larger group, usually a larger group of people who will look a little bit more at the nitty-gritty about plot and pacing and weird phrasing and stuff like that. And you'll get like another whole batch of feedback, and then you take that away, and then you go do more editing and more revising and more tweaking, and then you could even have a second round of beta readers. Like, there's just so it's just such a long process. And you've read your book. By the time you publish your book, you've read your book, it feels like 40,000 times. It is
That's crazy.
It's intense, and you know it to the point where you're like, you feel a little crazy when you're reading it because it no longer makes any sense. And then you get kind of, I don't know, for me anyway, I got kind of like in my head about like, is this terrible? But I've just looked at it too many times. You know, like when you say the same word so many times until it doesn't make sense, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just like, the process was just so long and so good for learning and so beneficial and made the story so much stronger both times through. But it is very surprising when you're just like, I'll write a book, and then you think you're done. You're not done, baby.
fascinating. I always like did ARC reads, but by that point, like the book is pretty much at its like published state. I now am reading for Katie Van Brunt's current work in process, which has been so much fun. And I don't think I'll ever be able to alpha read more than one book at a time. And this was like my first one I've alpha read. So I was like, let me like learn and see how this goes and be able to like give it my full attention, because you are really like there to give very honest like feedback, and it's work. It's fun. It's exciting. But I think that like capacity wise, like I wouldn't be able to do more than one alpha read at a time. Like I think that's something where it's like the author deserves like your full attention on that alpha read. So it's been a blast, and I'm learning a little bit about the editing process through that, but not much.
I would agree with you that alpha reading and beta reading equally are like pretty full on responsibilities. And as a beta reader, I've done more beta reading than alpha reading, but anyway, as a beta reader, I'm like, I can't really let anything go. Like if anything flags like my brain, I will mention it. And so I'm that jerk beta reader who's like pointing out every little thing on the page, and I'm not just there for the vibes. I'm like, what about this, and what about this wording, and maybe tweak this sentence and this comma, and like I just can't.
Yes.
I have no chill.
Yes.
So
that's right. That's what they want. Like that's ultimately though what the author wants. Like I tend to like lean more towards like hype girl, like, oh my gosh, I'm swooning at this, da 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 da. And sometimes Katie is like, okay, but like be mean. It's okay to be a little like not like, be harsh. And I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So did you do a lot of like reading? Like did you start off as a reader like in the reading community and then venture into authoring? Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't have like a bookstagram or any like I wasn't part of that community online, but definitely I was a reader and a romance reader first. And I have a couple friends who are local to me who are indie romance authors, and they're both, moms with kids the same age-ish as my kids. And I was just like, by the time I met the second friend, I was like, I could do this too. Like they could do it. Like it's doable. And I'd always thought about writing a book, maybe, but that was really cool to sort of have that representation and that inspiration through my two friends, Maggie Francis and Nicole Taylor Eby. And they also really showed me and shared with me a lot about how the indie process worked, which is also really valuable.
That is awesome. So cool. Really I love it. And I love hearing about like community connections and how people like evolve through the community. And it's very cool. It's a small world,
Absolutely.
All right. So before I sneak in any extra questions like I just did, pink, yellow, green, or orange?
I said yellow the first time, and then you went with orange, and I was like, oh well. It doesn't really matter.
You picked the color, and then I got distracted by the books, and then I was like, I think she said orange. I'm like, I just went with it, and I'm like, go figure. All right, we'll do yellow for real this time. All right, YELLOW. 1.
Let's go with 1.
1. All right. This is one of I'm always like fascinated by this when I'm talking to authors. What are your favorite tropes to read, and what are your favorite tropes to write?
To read, I love friends to lovers. There's something just like wonderful and safe about having that established relationship first. And so that's what I did with my second book, is I did a friends to lovers story. They were friends as teenagers, and the bonding they have over like their shared memories of that time is like so lovely. They share some really stupid memories of things some shenanigans they got up to as teens. And from the reviews so far, it seems like people really enjoy those nostalgic moments. So that's been fun. In terms of favorite to write, I mean, I'm only on my second book, and I'm thinking about my third and fourth. I have 2 more planned for the series, but I don't really have like I want to do the same kind of trope over and over again. I'd rather probably try different ones each time. So I'm kind of playing around with which ones would I like to do next at the moment. So yeah, it's undecided about which ones I love to write best, but anything with forced proximity, though, is so good, because there's just this like innate tension that's built into that, where there's an attraction and then they're like close together and they're looking at each other, trying not to. And I just love that. So both my first books have had forced proximity.
That's awesome. I love it. That's one of my favorite tropes. There's not many tropes I don't like, but I'm always interested if authors gravitate towards writing their favorite tropes that they enjoy reading, or if they're like, I'm not ready yet to dive into that because I love reading it so much. Like, what if I don't do it justice? And then some people are like, that's like what I feel safest writing. It's like what I know best. I love writing it. I want to write what I enjoy reading. So it's always interesting to see like the different answers to that. Thanks for sharing with me. Awesome. All right. Yellow, pink, green, or orange?
Let's go pink.
Pink. All right. PINK. 1, 2, 5, or 6 again. And you've already answered question 1.
Let's do 5.
Question 5. All right. Question 5 is a fill in the blank. You can take it wherever you want. I don't know why I wrote this one as a fill in the blank. It doesn't have to be. So the question is, my ideal book boyfriend is blank, and I'm looking for like characteristics of an ideal book boyfriend. So how would you describe your ideal book boyfriend?
Funny, definitely. And that goes for real life too. I like a funny man. Funny and kind of take chargey. That's how I describe Jude and Jessie is kind of take chargey in the bedroom, if you know what I mean. But yeah, like they have a confidence and a, I've been calling Jessie a synodom lately, which is a term I only recently heard, but it's so perfect. It's like a cinnamon roll with a dom.
I just put it together, a cinnamon roll plus a dom, but I love that, and I need to start using that.
Yeah, and I've also called Jude a stern brunch daddy, which I think is the most hilarious term. Have you heard that one?
Yes, and the first time I read Murder She Sold, I think, and this is the first time I saw brunch daddy being used at all in stern brunch daddy, and I'm like, can somebody, I just had learned cinnamon roll, and I'm like, can somebody explain to me what a brunch daddy is? And they're very similar, but
I think they are. They are. And I think a stern brunch daddy has a bit more of maybe a bit of a grumpy side or a bit of a quiet side.
Yeah.
And then it's yeah.
And then for those listening and watching, because I feel like I could do a whole episode on breaking down these, but then again, as soon as it airs, there'd be new ones that I've never heard of. But a cinnamon roll MC is a main male character who's just extremely sweet. So since cinnamon rolls are really sweet, that's at least how I think about it. And Hannah, please layer in if I'm missing anything, but it's just a very sweet, kind,
sweet and supportive, I think is sort of how I think of it. And certainly Jude and Jessie, the two male main characters I've written, are both that. They're both just fiercely supportive of their women and also just really kind and respectful. So there's not any of the sort of toxicity that you might find in dark romance. It's just sort of green flags, guys, right?
A lot of green flags. Exactly. Yeah, I love it. All right. I really love finding new. So now Cinedom is going to be.
Cinedom. Yeah.
I guess it's the cinnamon roll MMC that has a little bit of a domineering side to him. Yes, that sounds like a lovely green flag to me.
Yeah. I will give credit to the two authors I've seen use that term before it really landed in my brain, and that's Rhea Iyer and Albany Archer. I think have both referred to their MMCs as synodoms, and it was Rhea's reel recently. I was like, oh, this term. Why am I not using this term?
Oh my gosh. All right. Pink, green, yellow, or orange?
Green? I don't think I've chosen green yet.
I mean, at this point, I'm making up what you're choosing, so maybe we'll find out. Green.
We're just here for the vibes. It's fine.
Great. GREEN. Again, 2, 5, or 6. You've already answered 1 and 5. So 2 or 6.
Okay, let's go 2.
2. All right. And I just want to note, I do think I might be lagging a little bit, so let me know if it gets too bad. Question 2. So this question is one of those awkward icebreaker questions that remind me of what you have to do the first day of college classes. I'm sorry,
favorite.
But I love hearing it, and I have gotten a lot of feedback from readers and listeners of this show that they connect with authors through this, and it makes them like want to go out and check out the work. So I'm gonna ask it. You could hate me. What are 3 things that readers probably don't know about you?
Okay. Let's see. I am a former band geek. I played flute in high school, well, from elementary through high school, and trombone in grade 12, 12th grade, same thing. And let's see what else. I have identical twin daughters. And what's a third thing? I have never seen Bridgerton.
Interesting. Do you?
And I'm sure I will lose followers for saying that, but
No, you will not.
I have ADHD and a real hard time sitting and attending for a long time, and like taking on an entire series of like long episodes of something is just like I'm just crawling out of my skin. So I just don't have it in me right now because I'd rather be writing.
I get that. I totally understand that. I have a hard time like watching shows because I'd rather be reading. So I get it. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
I
have watched tons of shows in the past. Just like recently, for some reason, I just like cannot attend. Like my husband makes fun of me. He's like, "Do you want to watch a movie?" Like, you're gonna say no, right? I'm like, yeah, no, thanks. I'm good. You go watch the movie.
I've noticed lately I watch a lot of like reruns of like right now I just started like Gilmore Girls, and like I'm watching things that I've already seen a million times because then I can like also do other things while it's on. It's just like in the background, you know. Really hyper focus on it. I can like just do my own thing, and it's
just sort of vaguely there, keeping you company.
Exactly. Giving me all the vibes, especially like in the fall. Gilmore Girls is a great one. All right, orange, green, pink, or yellow. Let's
do orange again.
Orange.
I'm basing these guesses on nothing. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. You could say yellow the entire time, and it would be the same thing. All right, ORANGE, because we are answering all 8 questions, just getting done in a different way. So back to 1, 2, 5, or 6, and you only have 6 left in this group. Would you like to answer question 6?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, microtropes in Jessie's Girl that you can tell us about. Those of us who can't wait to get our hands on it tomorrow. What are some microtropes?
Microtropes are my favorite. They're so weirdly specific sometimes. I actually wrote them down because I was like, what if I blank? I know I'll blank.
Because like a lot of authors are like, why are you asking me about microtropes? Like there's so many in there, but like when you ask me, they can't think of them. And I'm like, sorry.
It's like somebody okay, this is an aside, but somebody asks me like, what'd you do over the weekend? Did you have a good weekend? It's like I've never existed before this moment.
Yeah.
What weekend? Did I do stuff? And I'm like, I can't. Like I don't. My brain just blanks right out. And it's so funny because this book is something that I have just spent months and months and months like living in. And it's so funny to even be able to blank in those circumstances. Like what I did on the weekend, I don't know, we went and got groceries or whatever. But this book is like has consumed me for so long, and it'd be really funny to just be like, what is it about again? So anyway, microtropes. Okay, so we have the fuck it moment. Everybody loves the fuck it moment.
Yes.
We have more than one fuck it moment in this book. And the first big fuck it moment is not, it doesn't play out the way they usually do, where they just say, oh, I fuck it, and they kiss, right? Yeah, I won't say more, but it's a little unexpected. So that's fun. We have so many from him. Like he remembers details about her that she doesn't expect him to remember. He wears a Henley shirt with his sleeves rolled up. He does the door frame lean with the crossed arms. Let's see. One that I really enjoy, and I've put it in both my books so far, is what I call, and I have coined this term myself, which is funny and slightly embarrassing, but the agony wank, which is basically when your male main character is so worked up and so like into this girl, but he can't have her. And so he like resorts to this almost like shame session on his own. So it's like tortured. It's all about so that tortured sort of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but I can't help myself. So we have that in Hey Jude, Jude's in the shower. And then we have that in Jessie's Girl, and I won't spoil how that pans out, but it's different.
Okay.
And there's a twist.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So I really like that one. That's what I call agony wank, which is really stupid, but it's a hashtag. Like you can use that hashtag. It's
absolutely
that to everyone.
Yeah.
my gift to you all.
Thank you.
Um,
That
what
instead of mom, you're just coming with all the gifts for this episode.
I have to say I love words, so that's not surprising, I guess. I like making up words too, especially since my brain does that blanking thing. I often use sound effects instead of words or make up my own weird ways of describing things. Let's see. Oh, we have hair washing. We have a motorcycle backpack. Are you familiar with this term? I have another cool term. So they go on a motorcycle trip. At one point, Jessie rents a motorcycle, and they go on this motorcycle trip, and she sits behind, and so she's the.
Got it. Okay. I have assumed, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, which is like the lingo in the motorcycle space online, as far as I can tell. But it's probably not all in the book universe just yet.
No, I'm
unless you read
even
motorcycle
more excited
romance.
because I go sometimes through stock images on Canva, just like prep for like future reviews. I write just like looking for like really good quality images. And I found some really good quality images this weekend on Canva of females on the back of a bike with a male, and like they're like really great. And I'm like, I just need a book where I can like use this for. So it's gonna happen with Jessie's Girl. I'm already ready for it.
I love it.
It's perfect.
Let's see if I missed anything. One big one is nicknames. So in this book, part of like I've advertised this openly that there are references to the Princess Bride in this book. And there's some stuff I don't want to spoil either, but Jessie ends up calling Ada Buttercup. And it pisses her off, and that's why he does it.
Okay, so like if I
but by the end of the book, she's kind of coming around to it, like
yes,
it's one of those ones where she like is like her indignation is there, but then she also can't help but smile because it's sort of sweet.
That is awesome. I can't wait. I know you and I talked before. I mean, it made a, like when I say talked, it's like on Bookstagram, like probably on a caption of something, like a comment. But you were saying that Ada, the female main character, Jessie's Girl, was a Spitfire, or you called her something, like you talked about like sassy or something like that.
Yeah,
and,
she's snarky.
Yes, and I was like, oh my gosh, my daughter's name's Ada, and she is sassy. So this is like gonna be sounds really familiar for me. And it's the best name ever. Not biased at all.
Obviously.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, she's a snarky butthead. They both are. It's a real love language thing for both of them to tease each other. And there's this whole sequence of jokes Ada makes about Jessie's appearance because when he's been away for 8 years and he's come back to town, and he has like big beard, long hair. So for the first 10 or so chapters of the book, he gets a haircut. But for the first 10 or so. I'll try that again.
So once it happens, it's going to keep happening. Yeah.
So for the first 10 or so chapters of the book, he's got the long hair, the man bun that she teases him about, the big beard, and she calls him Sasquatch and Yeti and the Big Lebowski, and like she just needles him constantly about his scruffy appearance. And so this is like part of their vibe, right? He's not bothered by it. Like he's like jokingly bothered by it. But yeah, they have a whole thing about that.
I love it. I love it.
It's really fun.
It already sounds like the most perfect book ever. I can't wait. I just can't wait.
I'm so excited for you to read it.
Yes, I will devour it tomorrow. It comes out. All right, orange, green, yellow.
Can I stop you for 1 sec? Sorry. I'm like the daylight is fading through this window. Are we okay? Like, is this a good amount of light, or would you like me to rearrange my lighting situation? I have a ring light here and a very small, crappy ring light there, but it's getting dark.
Yeah, it looks a little dark, but like when you just moved, it wasn't. It was weird. It was bright.
I think it depends on how close I am, but like, let me just fuss with the lighting and we'll see if we can get it a bit better. Because I just don't want to like, if I move the ring light a little closer or a bit more centered, better, but maybe more reflecting in my glasses, but maybe better.
I think it's better. Yeah, it's a little bit of the.
That's why I was like leaning like this because I was trying to like
get it out of your glasses.
The lighting.
I didn't even notice it in your glasses.
Okay. I'll just try to like show you my good side.
That's great. I love it. All right. I think the lighting's fine, and even if it's a little dark, like you're not showing
Okay.
as like
As long
shadow.
like I don't care really about the background.
Yeah,
Just
no,
gonna
you don't look shadowed at all. Like I'll let you know when that starts to happen. Yeah.
good stuff.
And also though, like let me just turn up my maybe. Jeez. Okay, of course this computer is like the one computer where it's not. Oh, there we go. I had to brighten my screen too, so I can be very honest with you. Nope, looks great. All right. Yellow, orange, pink, or green?
Let's go with pink.
All right. PINK. And you got the next cluster of numbers. I don't even have to like fib and switch it up for you. All right. 3, 4, 7, or 8. And you've already answered question 4.
Okay, let's go with 3.
3. All right. And done. So when I looked at this question that I wrote down, like, let me make sure I don't do like something that's like going to totally spoil Jessie's Girl. But when readers read Jessie's Girl, what do you hope that they feel? Like, what do you hope that they get out of the book? What's your hope for the reader?
I hope they laugh. I do. I really enjoy comedy. I always have, and I hope that they find my weird brand of humor funny. So that's it. But honestly, like on a larger, in a bigger picture way, I hope they feel seen. Like I hope they feel that these characters are real, feel real, and feel like people they could know, could be friends with, and would want to be friends with. Like I hope they feel that their weird brand of humor, what they're seeing on the page too. Does that make sense? Like
Yes. Yeah,
want them to feel like these are people that would be their type of people.
absolutely. And the more and more I read, that's what I look for more than like the billionaires and the so I love the relatable, the perfectly imperfect characters that are like very much like they just seem even more real when you're reading them because you can like relate to different pieces of them, or maybe like they remind you of like people you actually know in real life. That's been my new favorite. Like I also read the billionaires and all of those books, but like
Sure.
my new groove has been with like those more realistic
Yeah.
characters.
Quirky, messy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
mostly.
thing. Like Jessie and Ada are both imperfect. They're both messy. They both have baggage. They both at times don't communicate well with each other. It's not like a big miscommunication trope by any means, but it's she's 25 and he's 27, so they're also not, not their most mature selves yet, and
Right.
they have their trauma and their issues to work through, and so they make missteps, but like realistic missteps. People are
Right.
emotional and messy creatures. People don't communicate well often, and try to protect their vulnerabilities, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I just hope that people read them and go, she's like me, or he's like me, or he's like my boyfriend, or whatever. Like they're just goofy, messy. They can't take themselves seriously at all, which is also a big part of me. I cannot. and and I love that about them. I love that they're just like messy and real and fun, and then they just realize that they're like, oh, you're my person. That's unexpected. Like someone you grew up with.
Yeah.
Suddenly seeing them in a new light. That's pretty cool.
I love that. That's exciting.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, like here's a little like connection of to connect things like different 90s and early 2000s shows and movies. And one of the first ones I watched, like it was a show that had something similar. It's like the characters viewed each other as like friends for the longest time. And then like all of a sudden there's like a moment where that changes. And that was the original 90210, which is like, so to this day, one of my favorite shows with Kelly and Brandon. And all of a sudden it's like, we saw each other as more than that. I love it. It's always been a fan. All right. Pink, green, yellow, or orange?
Yellow.
Yellow. All right. IELLOW. And we've got 3, 4, 7, and 8. So really just 7 or 8.
Let's go with 8.
8. All right. Question 8. So you took a little bit of the fun away from me, and I could not ask you what song would you match to this book because you named it Jesse's Girl. So I'm assuming maybe that would be the one. I don't know. Is it? Yeah.
I mean, that's the obvious one.
Yes. It's pretty obvious.
I have recently been working on my playlist actually for the book, and I'm trying to think of like what would like capture the essence of it. I don't know if there's exactly one song, but that, what is it called? That Way by Tate McRae.
Okay.
Friends don't look at friends that way is like the main lyric. So yeah, that's about fighting and yeah, and looking across the room at each other and stuff. And I'm like, that's pretty on brand.
Yes.
So there's that one. And then there's also We Can't Be Friends by Ariana Grande, which is like, those are the two that I feel like are like the most sort of on message, I guess.
Yes. Very much.
But yeah, I mean, I've named the books in the series after popular classic songs. So those would be the go-to ones for sure. And I get a lot of people tagging me online with stories and shares and stuff where they're using Jessie's Girl by Rick Springfield. Guess what though? Rick Springfield spelled that Jessie with an IE.
Interesting.
Which is the girl version.
That's not the point. Yeah, exactly.
In my experience. Like, I didn't, it's funny because like I announced the title of my book well before I realized that. But then I was like, I'm not naming this character Jessie with an IE. No, just
that was my modified question for you. Was, did you name the male character Jessie before or after you created the title for this? Was it after you picked?
It was like that was unintentional. Yeah, it was intentional that the character name would be in the title, and so I was, after I decided on Hey Jude, so I named Jude first, and then I named the book.
Right.
And realized Hey Jude would be a perfect title. Yeah. And then I was like, what if each book in the series had that? And then I was looking at all the options for like, what are the other classic songs that have names in them? Excuse me. And Jessie's Girl was one of them. And I was like, I could get behind that. A male main character, Jessie, like that could work. And it was perfect. Like Jessie's Girl, it's like a romance. So anyway, yeah, no, I named him after the name in the song, but with a different spelling because that's my weird hang up about that.
Yes, absolutely. I love that.
Now, like the Jessie No I is the boy version.
Now I'm going to be annoying you on Instagram, like with guesses for the next two, off of like classic songs with names in them. And off the bat, my first thought is like Sweet Caroline. Would that be what? No.
I reveal nothing.
You'll not tell me, but I'm going to just start sending you a long list of them. And then one day I will be redeemed if I got any of them right. Because I could be like, let me scroll back in my messages and see if that was one of my guesses.
Yes. Oh, people send me them all the time. They're like, you should do Stacy's mom. And I'm like, maybe. They're like, it could be like an age gap thing or a single mom. And I'm like, yeah. The problem is, and no shade to anyone named Stacy, but it's just not like a name that makes me go, yeah. It's just like generationally, I feel like it's not like a young adult / you know, I don't know. Like it just feels a little older tracking and like that's fine. And like I know a child named Stacy now, like it is a name that is applied to all kinds of people of all ages. But yeah, it's just not one of the ones that I have been drawn to. But I did have a really hilarious conversation with a reader who was suggesting that I do Stacy's mom and Stacy's the name of the cat. And like the lead female character is like taking care of the cat or like is the mom of the cat. And I was like, that's actually really funny. And now I kind of want to go there. But maybe like as a cheeky novella or something.
Well, Hannah can't tell me, but if you're reading or watching this or listening to this, my first guess is Sweet Caroline. Okay, so that's out there on the interweb now. So we'll see if I'm ever right. I don't know.
It has been recorded in history.
It's recorded. There is evidence on this day. I said that. All right, so for the shits and giggles, will you entertain me in one last round of Paper Fortune Teller, even though it's gotta be 7?
Let's do it. Just ask me.
What color would you like to do?
Are we going to try to get there?
We're gonna fake it till we make it. Yes.
Okay. So until we get the 7, green. Try green.
Green. GREEN. And I didn't even have to move it. You did. You got it. So
you must have known.
7. All right.
Let's do it.
Question number 7. All right. This was from an Instagrammer. Did you find that there was like a common drink or snack that you enjoyed while you were writing Jessie's Girl, like throughout the course of the book, or were you like not really snacking and drinking while you were writing this?
It's a funny question because I often forget to eat when I'm writing. So, just a side note, in book 1 in Hey Jude, Olena is bad with food.
Yes.
And that was based on me.
Oh,
Personal experience informed that. Like the eating snacks instead of meals and looking at the fridge and not being able to decide and just closing the fridge, like that is absolutely me. So don't have a specific snack that I would eat. It's more likely that I would be not eating because I'd be so hyper focused on writing. But I also have the ADHD feature of sort of going through phases with foods and having safe foods. So there's certain snacks that are like you just have it all the time because it's like still given the good brain chemicals, eating that one thing forever, every night or every day until suddenly you hate it and then you find a new thing. But the thing that I'm liking right now is I don't know if you have them in the States, but they're Old Dutch corn chips. Do you have Old Dutch brand?
not that I'm aware of, but I'm gonna
Okay.
Google it.
They're they're corn chips, but they're not like tortilla, like not like triangles. They're like strips and then they're kind of curled strips. Kind of like Fritos. Yeah. We have Fritos here too, and I would say of the two, the Old Dutch are way better
Oh,
because
okay.
I've tried those similar ones from Fritos, and they're like
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
try it because
they're
I like
they're
Fritos.
so good. They're really crunchy and salty and probably very high calories. So I'm hoping that runs its course, and I can maybe introduce something that's not quite as terrible. But
That is so
yeah,
funny. I'm gonna find a
that's what's
picture
working
of
for me
quesadilla.
currently.
I love it. That's awesome. All right. So, Hannah, we are done with the paper fortune teller part of this episode. And now you, the guest, gets to choose one of four. I'm going to give you four options. You get to choose one of these nostalgic games. They're all going to have a bit of a bookish twist. I will say that the first two choices, which are MASH or Two Truths and a Lie, tend to be the easier of the two and a little bit more time friendly. I know that you have places to be after this. And then the other two are Truth or Dare and Never Have I Ever. So those are your four choices: MASH, Two Truths and a Lie, Truth or Dare.
I don't have anywhere to be after this because I got that task done
Yes.
before we started recording.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
We had a lot of scheduling issues.
Yeah, it's been back and forth a bit, but all I know is I'm here to be as
There
flexible as
was
you need me
something.
to be.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But let's do MASH. I haven't played MASH in such a long time.
Okay. You know what? No one's been choosing MASH lately, and I've been a little sad about it. So I'm happy that you're choosing this because it's my fave.
Okay.
I might have to do, you know what? I will. I'll do the whole thing in permanent marker because it's going to be better to see. So we'll go with that. So I will give my very basic explanation of MASH to viewers and listeners who might not be familiar with this game. It's another fun little silly game that we would play growing up where MASH stands for mansion, apartment, shack, or house. Is supposed to predict your future with your future spouse. The way that we will be playing this game is with a book boyfriend. And my goal at the end of this, Hannah, is to give you your entire plot for for Sweet Caroline. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But no, I will be just. This will be your next.
Imagine if that's how I chose it all. Wouldn't that be funny? If
I
I
would just
did a MASH
I will.
myself and was
I
like,
would be
okay,
done.
this
Like
has to be it.
my work here would be done. I think that would be. I'd
Be
be sad.
hilarious.
I'd be so happy. All right, so the different categories, we're going to go through them each one. I get to choose three for each category, and I will choose the fourth option for each. And then at the end, we're going to do a little swirly thing where we count the numbers, and I start slashing until we get down to the answers for each category. It'll make sense as we go. If you are listening to this episode and not seeing what we're doing, I will narrate the end for you so that you can get the entire plot of this. So our first category is going to be book boyfriend. This is totally up to you where you take it. So you get to choose three book boyfriend.
Do I get to choose my own characters as book boyfriends?
Absolutely.
Okay. Could we put Jude and Jessie in there?
Yep, we can.
That would be fun. I obviously have a soft spot for both of them. Okay, I know my third. Cassian.
Okay.
From the ACOTAR series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sort of Silver Flame.
I still
Very
have
nice.
not read it.
You haven't read it?
It's on my list. One of my really good, I consider her a very good friend, even though we have never met in real life, but through Bookstagram. she's currently reading the series, and it's making me get FOMO because like she's like so into it, and I'm like, but I'm also like so scared to start it because I feel like I will forget all of my responsibilities as far as arcs and stuff go, and I need to like find the right time to do it because I think it's gonna like completely consume me.
It's a whole thing. Like
Okay.
there are a lot of books, and they're thick.
I'm scared.
So yeah, you got to have like the opportunity to dive in. I mean, like you're gonna want to dive in. So pick your moment.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I will one day read it. So Cassian. So I feel like I know who Cassian is just through like all the things I see, but I really don't know who Cassian is.
He has wings. He has wings.
Oh my gosh. So
he could fly you somewhere.
Wow. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. I will choose, since we have 2 J names and 1 C name, I'm going to add Chad, which ironically, every ex-boyfriend that I have was named Chad, so I hated that name. But then I read The Maestro by Auden Dar, which is how Katie and I connected. Small world. Anyway.
And Chad is the MMC in that.
Correct.
Okay. I haven't read it yet, but
so it redeemed the name for me, which says a lot.
Well, it does say a lot. I've actually avoided reading a book that had the name of an ex of mine.
I did for the longest time until I read this book, and then I was like, and yeah, so it's a Chad.
Wow, Chad. Okay.
Which used to be a cursed name in my book. All right, so we have book boyfriend category done. I picked mine, which was Chad, and then the next category is going to be career. And this is not your career. This is the book boyfriend's career.
Okay, it's his career.
Yes, his career.
And I could pick anything?
Yes.
Firefighter.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's see. What are some other hot careers? The men uniform always like where my head goes. Sorry, what?
Duh. Like that's
a firefighter. Just put firefighter 4 times.
That's exactly.
I don't know. Let's see. Maybe like musician.
Yes. Yeah.
Like not rock star. I don't want fame. Let's see. And one more from me. I don't know. Like what would be this is where my brain blanks. So you might just edit out all my pausing and staring off into space. This is not going to be fun entertainment.
It's funny because like Riverside does. It cuts out all the
I love that.
awkward
just like
yeah. I do.
I think this is the problem is that it's like earlier today I had the house to myself and I was like, I could do anything. And then I like just get so like, what do I even start with? What do I choose? How do I choose? I don't know. Like, when it's like you could literally choose from anything in the world. It's like paralyzed.
But then if your ADHD is anything like my ADHD, when you're in crunch time and you are like about to like have to be somewhere, that's when you feel all the motivation and you can start doing all of the things. Because that's how I work, at least, where I'm like, oh, I have to get this cookout. Let me clear off the dining room table and let me start putting this away. And it's like not the time. But earlier I had no direction.
Yeah. Okay, since we keep talking about Katie Van Brent, who's my lovely friend, let's honor her doctor husband. Let's say doctor.
Doctor
book husband is what we call him.
Yes, doctor book husband. All right, so we have firefighter, musician, doctor, engineer. I met an engineer today. So engineer.
He could build you something or design something for someone else.
Exactly. I mean, I've met many engineers. I happened to meet somebody.
They don't do the building themselves, do they? They can definitely tell if something is structurally sound.
Exactly. At least they'll know how to make sure your house is sound. Okay, children, number of children. This was the one in grade school where you were like, you get 12 kids, like ridiculous things. So you get to pick.
Let's say no children is an option, right?
Yes.
I do have children. I'm not like that's what I would love or anything.
Not
but
all characters do, so yes.
No, and we want to normalize that. Like that's not the only way to have a happy ever. Let's say 1. I don't know why I skipped 2. That's weird. It's like in real life, I had 1 and then I had 3.
You did skip 2. So.
I didn't do 2.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Or it happened for like 30 seconds.
Well, I have 2, so I'll put 2. And then there we go.
Those are really like not very exciting numbers though, are they? Like we have gotten like 70.
I almost gave you like the 7, like and I was like, I'll do the 2.
I would not do well with 7, so that's fine with me.
Could you imagine writing a book with 7 children's names to keep track of? Anyways,
No, I can't. I can't imagine waking up with 7 children in my house.
Might be a lot. All right.
That's a lot. I have 3, and 3 is a lot. You don't have enough arms.
You're
So
outnumbered. So that's a
yeah,
lot.
it's wild.
Tropes, you get to pick 3 tropes, and I'll pick the 4th trope.
Okay. Like tropes for how we met.
Yes. So like if this were a love story, what would the tropes be? We're writing your next book for you. So
Okay. One that I always thought about but never quite known what to do with is fake dating.
okay.
When I've read fake dating books, I'm always like, yeah, this makes sense. But then the concept of fake dating always sounds so contrived to me that I'm like, how this doesn't happen in life. So
Right.
like, let's just we're indulging in fantasies. So let's just go with, yeah, there's some sort of fake relationship that would never. Let's say, well, friends to lovers, I love. So let's put that in there.
Okay.
And what's another one? Oh, Grumpy Sunshine.
All right. So I'm split between 2 pretty controversial tropes. 3.
Controversial.
As far as like people either love them or hate them. Not controversial as in anything's wrong with them at all.
Okay.
But,
They're just contentious, maybe.
Yes, but I love a lot of tropes, and it changes with my mood. But the 3 that I love consistently, that you either love them or you hate them, are surprise pregnancy, miscommunication, and second chances. And I feel like those are always my favorites, and those are always people are like, oh gosh, no, like I do not want to read any of those. So I'm gonna pick one of those for you. Because a lot of people are like, eh. And I'm going to choose surprise pregnancy.
Okay.
Because I just read a really good one. So it's on my mind.
What did you read?
The Bonus by T.L. Swan.
It
was really good. Highly recommend it. She's the one who got me hooked onto surprise pregnancy when I first years ago read Dr. Stanton by her. And then I was like, I like this. I like this trope. All right. So we have our completed MASH board. What I'm going to do now is start drawing a spiral until Hannah tells me to stop. And when she tells me to stop, I'm going to count the points of intersection. I don't know, I'm making up math terms, and I was never a math girly.
That sounded fancy. I bought it.
Sure. And then I'm going to just start slashing them until we get our final one left in each category. So I can't do this while I'm holding up to the screen. I will do when I'm starting. 3, 2, 1, and you can tell me when to stop.
Okay, stop.
Okay. 8. So every 8th one, I'm going to splash. And while I'm doing that, it takes a little bit. It can get a little boring. So do you mind telling those who are listening and watching this a little bit more about Jessie's Girl? Like maybe something about Jessie, since we learned a little bit more about Ada. Whatever you want to share, whatever you can share. I'll be fast.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain the masses. So I mentioned that it's a brother's best friend story. So he lived in, all my books are set in the same town, Lenox Valley, Washington, which is a fictional town. And so he grew up there, but then left after his parents divorced and due to a heartbreak that happened kind of around the same time. And so he was just feeling like, too much drama here, I'm out of here. And so he, when he was about 19, took off to Australia to just sort of avoid all of that. And so he's been gone 8 years, and he has to come back when his mom falls ill. So something happens with her medically, and there's a big emergency, and he has to fly home suddenly. He's not expecting to be there. He's not planning on being there. He's supposed to be going on a different vacation at the time. And so he is suddenly thrust into like facing his whole past and seeing Ada again after 8 years, where she was a teenager when he left. So he says to her, like, I was expecting to see braces, like he still thought of her as a teenage girl, and then like she's suddenly like 25 and working in a bar, and she's got turquoise hair, and she's got sort of that all grown up vibe for him. He's very like, whoa, in a lot of ways.
that. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Did I do good? Do I get gold stars? That was pretty good, right?
Hashtag gold stars, and thank you for doing my job and entertaining everyone. That was wonderful. So I have our final product. I am showing it on the screen, but for those listening, I'm going to go through it for Hannah, and congratulations. I did all your plotting for you. I didn't ask if you were a pantser or a plotter, but
I'm a bother.
you were a bother.
Plantser,
Wow.
as they say. It's just chaos.
Well, I got you started. Okay, so for this next book, it is the main male character is Chad, which maybe I will fall into the
Maestro.
I know, yes. The career is musician, kind of goes hand in hand. He was a prodigy of sorts. And then children, 1, so he has a child. Tropes, friends to lovers, so got that one. And they live in a house. So I now need to look up, are there any Chad songs that we can?
Are there any songs with Chad? I don't know. It's not the most musical name, is it?
No,
I don't know if there's been any ballads.
I feel like there's a lot of musicians with the name Chad. Maybe I'm also
I know. I thought musician and Chad actually went well together.
Yes. I'm gonna do a quick search. Let's just see for fun if anything pops up.
I feel like I've looked into this extensively, and I don't think so. But
you're like, I could actually tell you every single song with the name in it, and that's not one.
There could be an obscure song.
There is the Chad song by a guy who sings your name over and over again. Comeback Chad song by the Spy Ninjas. There's nothing. Nope.
Too bad. It'll have to be a standalone.
Yeah, standalone. Or it could be and Sweet Caroline, and it could just be off of the female character.
We'll see.
You never know.
We'll see.
But that was fun to do with you. So thank you for entertaining that fun game of MASH and all the nostalgia comes with that. Before we end this episode, Hannah, can you please let readers know where they can connect with you on social media, where they can find your books, where they can get their hands on Jessie's Girl tomorrow? It releases tomorrow on the 10th. So make sure that you grab your copies. And I will also drop all the links in the captions for a quick click and straight to you and your books.
Awesome. Yes. I am most active on Instagram at hannah.brixton. I have a TikTok account as well, hannah.brixton.author. And I also have Pinterest and Facebook pages that I don't really spend much time on. So we'll link them, but I'm not going to bother. And you can get my books on Amazon. Hey Jude is also available through, why did I say that way? Saying again.
Yeah.
Hey Jude is also available on Barnes & Noble and Indigo in Canada and several independent, smaller romance bookstores in North America. I don't know if you want links for all those, but I can provide them if you want. And Jessie's Girl is already out in paperback, and tomorrow will be out on ebook and in Kindle Unlimited. Both books are in Kindle Unlimited on Amazon. So Amazon is the main place to go have a look, and if you can shop at a different retailer, then fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. And I know before we recorded and we were chatting on Instagram, you said you had a nostalgic connection. Is that?
Yes.
Did we already talk about it?
Yes, I came up with a movie TV show reference that could help us see what the vibes of Jessie's Girl.
My favorite thing. So can you share that with us?
Yes, it's the friends to lovers arc of Monica and Chandler on Friends. Plus the angst of My So-Called Life.
That's a great one.
Good?
I love that. Yes.
And,
oh my God.
And bonus about My So-Called Life is there was a storyline about Jordan, your name, yes. the main love interest guy. He had dyslexia, and Ada in Jessie's Girl has dyslexia. So I was like, this is perfect. Yeah.
I love it. And my Ada's neurodivergent. I love that. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So I love that. I love that little connection there. And I love a good comparison to a throwback show. So thank you for that. If that doesn't make you want to grab this book, I don't know what will. So make sure you get your hands on Jessie's Girl, and you'll want to make sure you read Hey Jude. And correct me if I'm wrong, Hannah, but if you were to start at Jessie's Girl, it's not the end of the world. You can go back to Hey Jude at another time, but you're not going to want to miss Hey Jude. I'm telling you, that book was chef's kiss. So thank you again for joining me. I can't wait for readers to connect with you. And until next time, thanks for watching this episode of She's All Books. Bye.
Thank you so much.
All right, book besties, that's a wrap on this totally rad episode of She's All Books. If you're digging this vibe, don't be a square. Smash that subscribe button faster than you can say as if. Want to keep the convo going? Hit me up on social media at She's All Books. Drop a comment, share your fave book, or tell me what you want to hear next. I'm all ears. And hey, if you thought this episode was all that, spread the word. Tell your besties, your mom, even that cute barista at the local coffee shop. The more, the merrier. Stay tuned for the next episode, dropping Mondays at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a blast. Until then, keep it real and keep on reading. See ya!